Juliana, the curator of the Australian Pavilion, that has a fantastic video installation, and I would like you to talk about these big projects.
This is the project of Angelica Mesiti, who is an Australian artist with an Italian heritage. This project is therefore very much about our cosmopolitan self, the way in which, especially in Australia, we come from many nations, many ancestries, many backgrounds. What we're doing in this project is we're taking you through a group of translations. Angelica's practice is always very interested in language, but not verbal language, non-verbal language. How do we communicate with each other when we can't speak to each other? We do it through gesture, we do it through sound, we do it through movement. So this project is very much about taking a beautiful poem by the Australian writer David Malouf, translating it into a code so that it might be performed by your Michaela machine, which is an Italian invention made for the Parliament, moving that into musical composition, and then from that composition through the classically trained musicians, we play that score, then we evolve it to a Byzantine sound, opening our ears to the east, then we perform it with the gestures of the protest movement. This, I agree with you, point of order, keep going. Then we evolve it into a raucous, boisterous moment in which new energy comes into the space. New ideas and new cultures come into the space to make a cacophony of noise. And eventually we rest on a harmony, which is produced by a beautiful set of young women who are each finding their individual tone but combining to be one great force. Now, the point of all of this is that we're talking about democracy, how we perform democracy, how we welcome people into democracy, and how we have to practice democracy. Keep it creative, motivated, and always evolving, always new translating itself so that we can progress it. Because just at the moment we think we're a little bit in crisis. Democracy is fragile. It's fragmenting, it's failing a little bit. We want to make it more robust, we want to make it more energetic again, and we want it to be creative and for a future. To be positive and to listen to the young people and to use their energy, to listen to the recently arrived people and use their energy to be open-hearted and welcome the people in that make up our society, that cosmopolitan place, which is a more positive place than the place that is closed off and old and not interested in listening at all.
And that is how you feel being inside, because there are three big screens that presents the video on the three different points, but it's the same mainly. And then you are quite in an amphitheater.
Exactly.
Inside. So the Greek influence on democracy too. And gesture, as you said, is very important, because sometimes you say something and then what you really want to say is completely different. So the fact that you have to listen to what you are and what is around you is very important. That she succeeded in making this.
We wanted people to gather in that space so that the audience actually become performers as well. You see yourself practicing assembly, you see yourself as a citizenry, and you see yourself as a collective group of people who are listening, thinking, and evolving together. And some people find it a little bit unnerving to be in silence momentarily, and that's always interesting too. But it's so lovely after the cacophony and the things that they have an opportunity to see each other momentarily as they've been gathered through that lovely 25-minute sequence where they went on a journey and they travelled in the imaginary universe of hope that Angelica Mesiti has created.
Because it's 25 minutes, and this year, especially this year, the Biennale, there are a lot of long videos, most like films, and fortunately, a lot of women artists.
This is very interesting. Women artists are interested in communicating with people, and they're not necessarily interested in creating bombastic things. They want you to stay with things and be thoughtful with things. It's a different way and a different language, I think, sometimes that comes from the feminine position.
Because it is connecting to life, I think.
Correct.